The Dark Knight Rises is a captivating, exhilarating and hugely satisfying cinematic experience. How important to you is it as a filmmaker that it be seen on as large a screen as possible? And what does that vast IMAX canvas offer you as a storyteller?
I really enjoy the theatrical experience for films, and so I encourage people to try and see the film on as big a screen as possible. The biggest screens in the world are the IMAX film screens. We're on about 100 of those worldwide, and because we shot almost half the film using IMAX cameras on their dedicated film format, that presentation of the film is extremely special. Anybody who has the opportunity to seek it out, I would strongly encourage them to do so.
And during the end credits, we see a statement along the lines of this film was shot and finished entirely on film. Mm-hmm. And I just wondered, in a medium that's now kind of quite saturated by digital and 3D offerings, why are you such a staunch defender of shooting on film, and why was it right for The Dark Knight Rises? Well,
film is the best imaging technology that's been invented to date, and so when you're working, particularly on high-budget films, as I am, I'm working on studio blockbusters, I think it's incumbent on me to offer the audience, the best technical experience possible, and that is film, and I think will continue to be for some time. So formats that have come along that are cheaper and more convenient, I don't really have the argument to be able to say, sure, I can use a camera that's easier and so forth. What I'm supposed to be doing is making the best possible technical experience, and that's film.
I first fell in love with film watching Richard Donner's 1978 Superman the movie, and one thing that I really admired about that film and this trilogy is that you've never done anything, and no one involved has done it with a nod or a wink. It's all, you've taken this great story kind of seriously, and Christian Bale has been a huge part of that, I think. How impressed were you with his performance this time around?
I was hugely impressed with what Christian did this time around. I mean, every film I've done with him, and I've done 4 films with him now, I see something new in what he can do. What's particularly impressive to me about Christian's performance as Bruce Wayne is if you look at the 3 films together, there's a very truthful arc to the performance over the 3 films, as if he had it very clearly planned out. I don't know whether he had it very clearly planned out. I don't think he could have, but I think it speaks to the truthfulness of the performance, that it's consistent, coherent, and it tells, I think, a very moving story.
And despite the grand scale of much of the action, how important is it that we get some eye-to-eye, sort of knuckle-to-knuckle sort of fighting between the leads?
Well, we'd gone very big with the action on the first 2 films in lots of different ways, and it felt that it would be a very futile effort to try and blow up even bigger than that for The Dark Knight Rises. So what we went to instead was the idea of physical threat, the idea of putting Batman toe-to-toe against a protagonist who is primarily a physical threat, and that's Bane. An antagonist who can trade blows with Batman, and you won't actually know who's going to come out on top.
And I was on the edge of my seat throughout this film. And it's your 4th collaboration with composer Hans Zimmer. How essential is he in helping you create and sustain tension?
The things that Hans's music brings to the film are, I mean, there are so many of them, but one key one that I think people might miss is we're able to compress an enormous amount of information and storytelling to a very short space of time, relatively, because he overscores and creates these rhythms that just guide the audience through what's going on, to the point, particularly where the tension ratchets up, that really for the last 45 minutes of the film, it's practically a musical. I mean, everything's given over to the music.
Would you like to tackle an opera on stage or screen, maybe at some point?
I think these are operas, really, just without the singing.
Christopher Nolan, thanks very much.
Thank you.